recording. All right, here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Tim and April Show. I'm April.
And I'm Tim. Good job.
And
we nailed it.
We did nail it. That was such a great intro. If I can just pat myself on the back.
You absolutely should. You deserve it.
Yeah. So Tim has a hard out in like less than an hour. So I just think we dive right into this episode. If you haven't yet, Shiny Happy People Season 2 is now out on Amazon Prime, and it focuses on Teen Mania and Ron Luce and the Honor Academy and Acquire the Fire and all the youth group things that was definitely part of my upbringing. And so today we have a special guest, Dani Rocca. She is the first person that I met when I went down to interview. I met Dani in line to check into the hotel, and I recognized her from TikTok, and we both kind of looked at each other like, hi. We're like, are you here for what I'm here for? And because we both had signed NDAs.
Right,
so
the NDA, right. It's like when you first meet another progressive Christian, you say certain things to kind of feel out, like where they stand on certain issues. And you're like, oh, okay, we can keep talking about this,
Yeah, welcome, Dani.
Hello, welcome to me, I guess, and welcome to you.
Thank you, Dani. Thank you for welcoming us.
It's so good to be welcome.
It is good to meet you. I gotta say, I feel like I'm the odd man out. Like I'm in the presence of people who have like been on real TV shows. Meanwhile, I just try and do podcasts on YouTube. So, but it was really cool seeing both of you on that docuseries. I gotta put my cards out on the table. Even though I grew up deeply embedded in white evangelicalism, I really missed out on the Acquire the Fire world. I don't know what happened in my tradition, but I just missed the whole thing. Never heard of, what's his name? What's his last name?
Luce.
Ron Luce.
Yeah, never heard of that dude until I started watching this thing.
Interesting.
That's so wild. He was a household name in my family.
Yeah. I was reading John MacArthur, I guess. I don't know. It was a weird time. So
John MacArthur was not my fan. I wasn't a fan of his ever. So, Dani, this is the first interview you've done, I believe, since watching the show, right?
Yes.
So I would love to get your maybe spoiler-ish free for those who haven't seen it, but just kind of how did it feel to watch it?
It felt surreal to watch it. I feel like it's been for me, about 20 years in the making, but also for us, 2 years of just waiting, wondering, trying to figure out what's the narrative going to be, what are they going to cover, and of course, like, what did they use of mine, what did they use of yours, and what's the storyline? And so I was waiting patiently, and I got up at 3 a.m.
Wow.
Because it aired at 3 a.m. because I did not want anybody else to watch it first. I was like, I have to see this so that when I wake up, if anybody's saying anything, I'm not confused.
Yes, yes, that makes sense.
So my whole family got up and watched it with me. That was very sweet. But my 10-year-old asked me like 1,000 questions every 10 seconds. So it was hard to focus. So I'm going to have to watch it again because I felt like I kept on having to explain very basic things to him, which I'm really thankful he didn't know what most of those things were. So doing something right. But yeah, my initial response was, oh, sorry.
No, you go. I didn't.
No, you go. No, I was going to say my initial response was, bated breath. Like I was just like, okay, where's this going? What's happening? I had goosebumps and chills during certain things. All these memories and flashbacks kept coming back. I had some visceral reactions to certain things that I was like, okay, I got to figure out where that's coming from and why I feel like the heebie-jeebies, and tears, hearing everybody's full story for the first time. Especially the very last episode, like I cried a bunch. Towards the end, it was just like, oof, I cannot believe that I did this and didn't see it the way I see it now. I feel like we normalized so much and I think we still normalize some of the things that we went through. So watching that and watching my kids' reaction and certain people's reactions, it's like, oh, maybe I should unpack a little bit more then. I thought I was doing fine.
So I'm curious, just a surface level, because I'm sure that the docuseries goes more into this, but how deeply embedded were you with Teen Mania and like that world? Like, were you one of the interns, or like how deeply invested were you in that space?
I was pretty invested. I started out as an attendee when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13 as a, attendee with my youth group. And when I was 18, I went and joined their internship, which is called the Honor Academy, which for people that don't know, Teen Mania is just like the umbrella blanket term for the entire ministry.
Okay.
There's like recruitment arms, I'll call them, which was Acquire the Fire, which is the big youth conference, and then the missions, global expeditions, where people go on missions trips every summer. They would kind of filter into the Honor Academy as people turned 18. And I call it like the gap year. It was designed as a gap year between high school and college to get you grounded in your faith and, strengthen you for the temptations of the world. And
of course.
So you know how it is, because you're going to go get indoctrinated when you go to college.
That's right.
So
that's right.
you have to fight against it, fight against
right.
the powers of the world. So that's what it was designed as. And so I was an intern for the first year, the 12-month program. And then my second year that I was there, we called those graduate interns, GIs, if we're using the vernacular appropriately. Yes, we were GIs. And that was the year that I traveled around with Acquire the Fire as I traveled around with 36 people in a bus, and we put on the conferences. So we were doing the lights, the audio, we were doing skits, we were doing the music, we were doing everything that you can think of that it takes to put on a conference. I was in charge of the front of house lighting rig, and
Nice.
I was the main character in the drama, and I was, feeling pretty cool.
And how old were you at
18,
this time?
18, 19. Yeah. 18,
Yeah, I
19.
think it's important for people to know that if they haven't watched the documentary, that if you went through the Honor Academy, you were basically providing not even free labor, because you were paying Teen Mania to then work for them and provide like all the labor.
Yes, we were paying to be there.
So you would have to like raise your support essentially to go do the work?
Yes, we did. And they gave us, in our little handbook, they gave us a lot of fundraising ideas, So we did some of those, but it was mostly the letters, that you'd send out back in the day of like, hello, it's me, Dani Rocca. I'm going to go and change the world. Please give me money.
It was wild to me that one of the ideas involved a carton of eggs and going door to door. And then you would say, I will crack an egg over my head for any donation amount.
Yeah,
that was
an
an
idea.
actual thing that they recommended to do.
Huh.
Yeah, bake sales. Like you can do anything that you want to do to raise money, basically. But I remember doing that in high school, actually, when I was trying to raise money for my missions trips. It wasn't door to door as much as we were out in the church parking lot and being like, does anybody want to crack an egg over my head for a donation?
Yeah.
Please.
That part I can resonate with, because I used to work for Child Evangelism Fellowship, and we had to raise our own support to become summer missionaries to our these like backyard 5-day clubs that we would do. So I have to raise my money, and I would get like slightly paid out of that, but I still had to raise all the money. So I had to do the letters, I had to do whatever I could do to raise X amount of money so I could teach boys and girls about the gospel of Jesus, so they wouldn't go to hell forever.
And I just I pulled it up because I have the HA handbook in front of me, the Teen Mania handbook, and the page that has fundraising ideas, they have about 30 ideas. Yeah, 30 ideas, which I'll read them. I won't read all of them, but rent a teen. You can rent a member of your youth group to clean and complete jobs for a donation. Car washes. You can do a car wash, which is obviously the best one. Church dinners, breakfast, socials. Egg cracking is popular, it says. Task trading tickets. Colosso cleanup. So it's a lot of cleanup. One of them, my 8 is actually a really good one. It's get a job.
Wow. How'd they come up
Get
with
a
that?
job.
That's
Get
a
a
good
job.
idea.
Yeah, that one's probably, I mean, we don't even need to figure out, we don't even have to read any more of these. Face
Yeah,
painting, parents night out,
seriously.
doggy dip. I don't even know what that means.
And so you
Oh,
did
it's
this. You raised the money so you can go do this.
yes, but I got a job. That's what I
You got a
did.
job. So
You went with number 8.
is the format kind of like, I mean, my only frame of reference for this model is almost like a master's commission or almost like a Hillsong College vibe, where like you pay them money for all these quote unquote experiences, but really they're just extracting essentially free labor out of you in the name of like hands-on experience. Is that the vibe here?
Yeah, yes, I think so. I would say so. I'm not super familiar with Master's Commission, and I know Hillsong is very similar because I think that we tried to do a Hillsong model after my year by forming the School of Worship. Yeah.
The main difference, I feel, Teen Mania stands apart because of the military like boot camp that they made you all do.
That's pretty wild.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
That stuff is interesting because like I think I've been reading a lot of the Facebook comments because I'm behind the curtain in the Facebook groups of all the alumni, and so there seems to be a common thread and a common theme that I think is relatively valid in one sense, in that the military thing happened one weekend out of the 12 months, and so therefore it shouldn't be like as like focused on as we make it. Which, I mean, you can say that as far as like extremism goes, but like if your dad beat you one weekend a year, you wouldn't be like, he's just such a great person, and my whole life is great, so I'll be fine or whatever.
So I'm curious for you, Dani, like what drew you into getting involved in the beginning, right? Because I watched a bit of the docuseries so far, and I think one common theme that I hear a lot, and it's also my experience, is that these spaces on the surface tend to offer a sense of like greater purpose, bigger than yourself, community, doing things with other people that feels exciting and just kind of like this grand adventure. I'm curious for you, was that kind of the draw of like, man, I'm this Christian, I want to do big things for the kingdom, and I can do it through Teen Mania? Was that the draw for you?
I think so. When I look back, I think when I was leaving high school, all of my friends were dispersing. And I think there was like a little bit of drama within my friend group, and I felt very kind of like isolated. And so kind of ready for a fresh start and a new community of people, and everybody else was doing their ministry things. And so I needed to go out on my own and do my thing. And so, that was my choice.
I think it's important for, I have so many things that I want to talk to you about. But I think it's important for a lot of people that maybe didn't grow up religious, or even people that are still evangelical in some way today, that might look at what was being taught at Teen Mania, and probably what Ron Luce still teaches too, as it's not that big of a deal, and it was taken to the extreme, and that most places are not like that. But I think it's important to note how it didn't just stay at the Honor Academy. Like, I was taught that I would probably be a martyr for God, and that there was no greater calling too. And that was just by going to youth group. Like it was a very widespread thing.
Got it right here, baby. Voice of the Martyrs. It's still got
Voice
it.
of the Martyr, and I think Teen Mania, I think, kind of helped shape youth group culture as a whole, where you didn't have to go through the Honor Academy. I mean, that is a very specific sort of trauma for a lot of people, but the rhetoric and like the military language and the spiritual warfare language, that leads to radical faith. That leads to like this radicalized kind of Christian nationalism that we're seeing. Because if you actually believe that everybody who doesn't believe in Jesus the way you do is going to go to hell, then there's nothing that isn't worth doing. Like there's that you could justify just about anything to get to that point, including abusing and terrorizing teenagers in a boot camp, if you genuinely believe that you're raising like this army of Christians that are going to change the world for God. Would you agree? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say if you believe that hell is the ultimate punishment, then any abuse or punishment along the way is better than hell. So you
Right.
can justify as much harm as long as the ends justify the means, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
And
Hmm.
uh, and I think like when you're truly bought into that, there is like an urgency that comes with wanting to save everyone. I mean, you guys know
Mhm.
this, right? Like there's an urgency and there's
Yeah.
like a grief when you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That makes
and
a
a
lot of
guilt
sense.
too. If you
Yeah,
if you don't witness or you feel like you messed up and might have hurt somebody's faith, or if you were a bad witness, then you feel the shame of their blood being on your hands. Like I was taught that. I didn't go through the honor academy, but I was taught that if I didn't witness to somebody and then they died and went to hell, that their blood would be on my hands forever.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I don't know. The thing about in April, you and I talk about this a lot, just in the broader evangelical world that we all three of us grew up in different ways. But like, I understand, right, the idea of like feeling like you're doing something bigger than yourself, like for a greater cause, and like having friends along the way. I mean, some of my closest friends still came out of evangelicalism that I talked to today. Like, there was something that just kind of happens. So like a lot of the elements on the surface of like community and like even doing things in the name of like God can be healthy.
Mhm.
But what's so interesting is how quick in these spaces, and in this case, with like organizations like Teen Mania, how quick that turns into radicalization that becomes hyper politicized in a very like conservative evangelical way to fight the culture war, right? Like, I mean, I would
Mhm.
march for life, wearing my my signs in my shirt, not really being aware of like what was really going on, but just being taught if we don't stop this, it's like a modern day Holocaust. Like, very
Mhm.
bombastic language was used to describe it, right? And so my brain at
Right.
age 18 was like ready to go because it was so primed for like radicalization of like, I'm a young man, I want to take back take back America for God. And I think like the Teen Manias of the world, especially in this docuseries, kind of shows the link of what starts kind of almost innocently, get fired up for God and like sing these songs and this is so much fun, then transitions to fight the culture war. And it's just
Mhm.
Right.
interesting to watch that radicalization kind of happen.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes people don't realize it's happening too, because it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
dependent on how you grew up. Like in the case of Teen Mania, there were some people who felt like being on campus at the Honor Academy was freedom for them because they grew up in such an oppressive space
Mm.
that it felt like they were moving the needle forward and not
Mm.
backward. Whereas some people came from a very free environment and kind of had to assimilate and come back into like, you know, fall in line with the rules and the social norms of being a part of that culture.
Mhm.
Um, and what did I say yesterday? It was, I think all it takes is 1 0-degree day to make 20 degrees feel warm. So you
Mm.
start to kind of like adjust
Mhm.
your mind, you adjust your expectations, you adjust kind of every part of yourself to fit into a group because to belong is such an important part of the human existence.
Right.
And
Mhm.
we want that so badly that we're willing to sacrifice our own values for it, even if we don't believe those things.
Mhm.
So,
And I think too, because you're so young, you're talking about
yes.
teenagers who are very easily impressionable, easily manipulated and spiritually
Yep.
manipulated. And when you're talking about authority, and pushing obedience as authority to God, even though
Right.
you're actually being obedient to Ron or Dave, who helped run the boot camps. Um, I wanted to ask you, I saw some comments about people who feel like the Shiny Happy People documentary is kind of like a form of Christian persecution in a way because it's not showing all the positive experiences. And I don't know, it might have been your
We
thread. It
were
was
right.
someone's thread.
Back in
What's
2016,
What?
when
happening?
we
Oh, hold
Sorry.
on. I hear a
My
video.
computer started screaming at me. It just
Oh,
We
started
were
going
right.
off. Sorry. Yeah, I hit the
I
wrong
was like,
tab. I was trying to pull up a screenshot for this podcast, and the wrong tab opened up. My computer started yelling. So
mm.
I
sorry
was
about
like,
that.
he's so passionate right
Yeah.
I
now.
know. I was like, whoa, wow. Um, no, I saw a comment on someone's thread, and it might have been yours. And it was someone who basically was like, I was a little bit rebellious, so it's going to become a surprise to some people that I'm
Wow.
defending Teen Mania. But it really wasn't that bad, and you could have left at any time, and everyone was there on their free will, and a lot of us had positive experiences. And then I saw someone else reply to them which I thought was really kind of opened it up for me. That made sense. They said, well, I feel like the kids who might have been a little more rebellious might have skipped through some of the more traumatic things because they were able to hold on to some autonomy there
Yes.
because they were rebellious against the rules
Hmm.
versus the kids who were there who were genuinely following every single rule, who felt so much shame for if they were breaking a rule, that the trauma was more heavily on the really, really good rule followers than the rebels. And that made so much sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. I think I also said, like, if you were able to gamify it, like make it kind of fun, if you had that ability, because like everyone responds to trauma differently, right? That's kind of what resilience is. You build resilience over time. Someone can experience the exact same thing and come out completely unscathed or completely traumatized, depending on how, you're
Yeah.
wired. And
Mhm.
so to discount that is, unfortunate, because a lot of people are discounting that. People were harmed. And forgive me if this analogy is ridiculous, because my ADHD brain is like, this is an interesting thought. I'm thinking about like the game of Operation, and how there's all these like divots, in the dude.
Divots in the dude.
The divots in the dude,
Those
and
little
they're all like
holes.
Yeah,
different shapes
little
and
divots.
stuff.
Yeah.
They got some bones and some, random obscure items. I feel like if you're able to extract that item without touching the edges, then you're moving forward, and you're going to heal the disease, I guess. And but if you touch the sides, or you leave it something in or whatever, like some people are stuck in it, some people were taken out of it and just fine, and some people are still trying.
Right.
And so that, I don't know if that made any sense, but that's what that's the picture that I got
That's
in my
what I'm
mind.
following you. Well, and I think the scary part too is that a lot of you all, and us too, like we're able to leave that belief system and heal from a lot of trauma and view the world a lot differently now because of that. But a lot of people that we grew up with and that you went to Honor Academy with and that were in youth group with me are still like true believers in it.
Right.
All like have not been
Yeah.
able to leave that indoctrination behind.
Right. Because to pull a thread is to destroy the sweater, as Weezer said. And so Weezer chapter 4, if you will.
Chapter 4? Chapter 4, verse 2?
4, verse 2. I just nonchalantly was like, how Weezer is talking about that sweater?
Message translation, of course, obviously.
But yeah, no, for real though, like it is hard to feel. And when you don't want to feel, and you put those walls up to protect yourself, and you feel like the comfort of community, and you feel like you belong somewhere, to exit that is painful, because it is to lose everything.
Right.
And I think if you aren't ready to do that, then no amount of documentaries or telling someone like the harms of the things you went through are going to change that in a person that is not ready. And I think that's just the harsh reality, and it's difficult, because when you live in a bubble that you like, you don't want to leave.
Yeah,
you really don't.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious. Were there like, when was not the moment necessarily, but when did you start maybe having thoughts around like, I'm not sure if this is good or healthy long term, or like was that later on after you exited Teen Mania, or was it when you were still in there? Because a lot of us, as we quote unquote deconstruct or renegotiate faith, we start kind of putting two and two together, but there are always these little paper cuts along the way that we go, I'm not sure I feel about that, but I can put it aside for the greater good. I'm curious for you, your journey with that.
Yeah, I had so many paper cuts, because like you look at my story and it's kind of like, how on earth did you not just like crumble and like exit, and like 15 years ago, from being excommunicated for kissing a boy, which...
Wait, what?
Oh, right. Excommunicated for kissing a boy.
Wait. All right. Yeah. Pause right there.
Can we go into that a little bit?
Oh, wait. You were excommunicated for kissing a boy?
I was excommunicated for kissing a boy, because it was in the rule book that you're not allowed to have any romantic contact.
Can I ask a question? Was the boy also in the Honor Academy?
He was, but he left before.
Oh, so they didn't excommunicate him?
No, because he left. So we kissed in October,
Okay.
And then he left in like November and left the program completely.
Turned
And
himself in.
then he just left.
Right. He confessed.
It wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. He left.
Yeah. Okay.
And then January came around after Christmas break, and someone called and was like, "Hey, Dani Rocca kissed a boy at the lake."
In October?
How did this person know? Did they see it happen?
I think they were one of his friends, and he had like confessed it to him or something, because you have to confess all your sins to all your friends, and they need
Accountability.
To hold you
Hashtag
accountability.
accountability.
Accountability is important.
I just picture this
Okay.
bro being like, dude, I have to talk to you about something super serious. Like, whoa, what's
Yeah.
up, bro? I kissed someone 4 months ago, and I'm confessing it to you. And he called the whoever and was like, I got dirt. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hold on. Was this just a peck, or was there some tongue action?
Oh no, we made out.
Oh,
We definitely made out.
all right.
But
So
like
he was
the-
probably feeling really guilty about that, because that's basically having sex in
Yeah,
youth
I mean-
culture.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we didn't even get to second base, but the car did die at the lake, like because you have the radio on and the car off, radio on, battery dies, and so because the car died, we were like, what do? We can't call someone.
Right.
Oh, it was like God judging you?
You
Did you think it
can't-
was God?
Your sin will
No.
always find you out.
I was just like kind of panicked of like, who do I know that's also a sinner that I can call? Who else can I call that won't turn me in, basically, who's not a narc? And so
Not a
we
narc.
we slept in the car, but we did sleep in the car all night. But again, we did not go any farther than kissing. And so the next day I called one of my friends, and they showed up and jumped the car, and nobody knew.
And then 3 months later, someone did narc you out. There was a narc, it turns out, and you got kicked out for that.
I got kicked out, and you thought I murdered someone. It was really bad. Like it was just, people legitimately were like, what did she do? What did she do that caused such a big, because I don't think I was the main character in the drama at Acquire the Fire. And this wasn't like a small skit. This was like the BEMA. We did the BEMA that year.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was like an hour or 45 minutes on a Friday night, maybe. I'm wrong about that. Maybe we didn't do it on Friday night, but like it was like hour-long segments of acting.
You were a big
so it
deal.
wasn't just. I was a big deal. I was Amanda Bright, 18, very involved in youth group, very involved, and you are the soul in the balance.
Yes, clearly the Bema seat of Christ. Of course, obviously. So okay, so they kicked you out because you made out with a boy.
Yes.
And did you ever go back?
Yeah.
Yes, I did go back. I did a year later though, and it was a very it was like I showed up one summer. It was supposed to be a 2-week road trip, and then I ended up kind of writing music with the School of Worship over the summer, and then I was kind of just there, and then October rolled around. They're like, someone needs to tell Dani that she needs to become an intern or she has to leave. And so I was like, I already paid for my year, so I can stay here. I can do whatever I want.
Do you have to pay for the whole year in advance, or you pay month to month?
You're supposed to, you can pay a year in advance. You can pay for it in advance. You can pay for it month to month. But I had friends that, they would send you on fundraising trips if you didn't have the money that month. I have friends that were literally pulled out of line when we were lining up to graduate because they did not have all of their money in. And so they got financially dismissed before they would graduate.
Ugh.
They didn't crack enough eggs on their heads, clearly.
No, they didn't.
Like, geez.
So for me, that was like a really rough one, like the financially dismissed one, because there's like so much dishonor in that. And the whole thing was like honor. And it just felt like a lot of like, that felt like it just a psychological, I don't know.
It's almost like classist too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cause like they literally were dressed in their uniform and ready to walk. And they were like, I had a friend that was dismissed and then still had to run like the lights for the event.
Oh my gosh.
So
wow.
Awful.
Yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So you were kicked out, but you were allowed to come back a year later. Was it like a different Teen Mania like chapter, or like how did that work?
Great question. I don't remember how it works exactly, because I think everyone has their own stipulation, because you have to go in front of like an honor council of your peers.
Okay.
And they decide your fate, basically. They decide whether you're going to go on probation or whether you're going to get dismissed, and kind of what the stipulations are. And so when I got dismissed, I was banned from campus, I think, for the year. Like, I wasn't allowed to be there until the current class that I was in graduated. And I think I was welcome to apply again and come back for the next cohort, if you will.
Did anyone reach out to you while you were dismissed?
The first week, everyone changed my name in their phone.
To what? Don't say Jezebel. Do not say Jezebel.
No. This is because they were told they weren't allowed to talk to me, so they changed my name in their phone so that they wouldn't get caught talking to me or checking in on me. And then the leadership found out, and they actually like walked around and made them delete my number.
Oh my
they
gosh!
weren't allowed to talk to me. I know. I'm like, yeah, that's one of those things that still messes with me to this day, because I was looking at like the video and some of the materials that I sent in, and I'm just like, man, I wonder, we've never really talked about this, but these were like my best friends, and I have no idea how any of them are doing. Like one of their birthdays is today, and I was like, oh, I should send them an email like I used to, because I used to do this really dumb thing where I'd send a jump scare of this wet cat, and I thought it was hilarious. I'm gonna do that. And I was like trying to find the wet cat. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? But yeah, it messes with you. It really does.
Okay, so you got kicked out and came back in. I just wanted to hear some of the paper cuts that kind of led you to the moment of, like, you know, when you eventually, I'm assuming, left Teen Mania, and I'm not sure how that impacted your faith. I'm just kind of curious of that story.
Yeah, I think I internalized all of the culture of Teen Mania, and I owned up to all my mistakes. Like, I made the choice. I was the one that did this. So they were right and justified in doing, like, I allowed that to happen. So I was just,
and they like used you in testimonials, right? Of
yes.
Like, I'm a woman who made a mistake. And the mistake, to be clear, was you kissed a boy.
Right. And I was used in most of the promo materials because I was one of like 9 brown people. So that was a different story.
Cool.
So, but yeah, so just to give that context, like I was like very much like humble, if you will, in accepting my wrongdoing and being the person. My scarlet letter that will forever scar me. And left, came back, and was in it again. And for 2 years, I feel like I was definitely accepting a lot of like emotional abuse from some people and spiritual abuse from leadership. And after I got married, which was in 2011, I met my husband there and we got married. I had all the Teen Mania people at my wedding. I timed it to where they could come the day after graduation. And so I had 300 people at my wedding, all Teen Mania people.
Wow.
Not all Teen Mania. And then 3 months later, I got pregnant. And then my whole life has just been, you know, mom. So I went straight from this high control group into a new place, a new church, a new life, having kids now, like still never not gone to college at this point. And so I kind of never had autonomy. And so I think once the thread started pulling when I started going to college. And I went to college after I had 2 kids. And after I had made some decisions, like I was not understanding how I coped with stress. And so I was like drowning under kids and like dealing with all this stuff. And I was like, I need a life shift. Like, this is not good. Like, I'm not doing well. And so I started college, and that's when I was like, oh, I need something that's mine. Why have I like sacrificed my entire life for someone else all the time? Like, this is for me. And so being able to just like breathe fresh life into myself and have like something that's mine kind of began that journey for me. But it took a really long time for me to even recognize like a lot of the harm. And I think like, because we moved to Houston, and all the Teen Mania people that didn't have a home kind of moved down to Houston after they left Teen Mania. We were like this kind of hub of Teen Mania people. And so we mentor a lot of them, and it just felt like people could never get out of it. And kind of witnessing this, I was like, man, this is like, this is rough that people are like so stuck still in this place. Like every time you see a Teen Mania person, you're immediately talking about Teen Mania and all the things you went through and all the things that you've done. Even if it's been 20 years, it doesn't matter. Like that's just something that you do. And so,
can I ask, when you were when you were dismissed and then you come back and then you're being told to talk about how you messed up, you know, but God forgave you and all of these things, like, did you feel shame for the kids? Like, did you feel like it was a mistake, or did like you kind of feel deep down like this is kind of dramatic for what I did?
That's a great question. I think I did feel shame. I feel like I've learned a lot about how to unravel shame now that I'm older and wiser and have done therapy and gotten all my degrees and all of the things. But back then, I definitely felt shame, and I felt the need to posture myself in a way that allowed people to know that I felt shame. I think I call that the nobility complex. Like it's a very strange, like, I need you to know how humble I am. I need you to know that I feel bad about this thing. And so I think that's like, before the ego death, like for me, there requires an ego death to kind of let go of that, like need to let people know that, you know, or to defend yourself. That's a hard place to get to. I'm still working on it, I think, but Well,
I think you also, you're downplaying who you are a little bit, I feel like, because you also only recently left a pretty well-known Christian band. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah.
Could I say it?
You can, yeah.
Dani, you were a member of Avalon, like the Avalon.
Yes, I was.
Testify to Love.
That I sang. I had an Avalon shirt that glowed in the dark. Okay, it had the A. It was like green. Yeah, I saw them. They would always tour at America's Keswick. It's where I live in New Jersey, and so they would always play that spot. And I was like a 10, 12-year-old kid obsessed with their music. Testify to Love, all that iconic album cover where like they're sitting and laughing. I was a huge Avalon fan, so I'm a little starstruck. Not gonna lie, Dani. So.
As you should be. I don't have a nobility complex anymore.
We're not worthy. I gotta ask, how did you get hooked up like with them and get, becoming part of that group is pretty iconic for the CCM world for sure,
Yeah. So crazy enough, when I moved to Houston, I, at the church, like right around the corner from our house, Greg and Jana Long were the worship leaders. And then Sarah Kelly was also a worship leader. And Sarah Kelly was like big in the 90s, early 2000s as well. She's Grammy nominated or Grammy winning. And so I was singing at a church with them. And that was like, 2012, something like that. When I was pregnant, okay. I was singing with them for like a whole summer and got to know them really well. Dinner at their house, like they've known me since I've had my first child. And so 8 years after that, they randomly called me and they were like, hey, we're thinking about getting Avalon together. Would you want to audition? And I was like, what?
Right. I'm sorry, huh?
What do you mean? And so I was like, Testify to Love wants me to do what?
Right, exactly.
Like, Can't Live a Day wants me to do what?
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, thinking that we're going to like form a new band. Because at this point it was just Greg and Jana and I didn't even know who was at the time. Amy and whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. Jeremy. Thank you.
Right.
So yeah, I auditioned and for Don Cook, and I was like, I don't know who that is. And Joel, my husband, is very into everything Christian music, and so he's always like, "What do you mean you don't know who that is?"
So who is he?
I was like, I listened to Boys to Men when I was younger. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don Cook wrote a lot of Christian, like a lot of the Christian songs that you know.
Okay.
And Adonai was one of them.
Okay. Got it.
And
That song used to make me cry.
May he rest in peace. So
I did like there was quite a nod to some 90s CCM in Shiny Happy People season 2. We had some Carmen in there.
Yeah.
I feel like I see DC Talk.
I saw DC Talk in the first episode.
Yeah, DC Talk,
which,
and then
which
Ray
is kind of
Boltz.
weird. It's kind of weird to see Michael
Definitely
Tate
Ray
now
Boltz.
on a screen. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
that
their
was
fault,
hard.
obviously. It was probably done way before that came out, but it's like, yikes, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like we'll have to have you back at some point just to talk about CCM.
Yes.
That would be a
That'd
lot
be
of
fun.
fun. Forehead,
Yeah.
point of grace.
All
the
so
good
many
ones.
things.
Michael W. Smith.
A friend is a friend forever. Am I right, Danny?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what? I went to a Michael W. Smith concert back in, I think it was like 2019. Yeah, I think it was 2019. So it was right after my second was born. And my mom was like, hey, I'm going to a Michael W. Smith concert. I have an extra ticket. Do you want to go? Really, she bought a ticket knowing that I would go. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I went with my mom. And it was like all fine. I was still coming to terms with Christian nationalism at the time, but it wasn't, I was still like new and like talking about it or whatever. And I remember sitting there and everyone stayed seated pretty much the entire time, right? Until Michael W. Smith starts singing the song he wrote about 9/11, where like the flag still stands. And
Whoa.
I swear people started standing up and raising their hands in worship. And they didn't do that on any of the actual Jesus worship songs, but they did it and did a standing ovation on the song about 9/11. And I was fuming.
I'm not surprised.
Christian nationalism.
I believe that 100%. 100%. Wait, I just have to ask, and then we'll move on. But so you joined Avalon, then you. What year was that? Was that you said 8 years from 2012 to 2020?
2018.
Oh, 2018. Okay.
Yes.
And then how long were you with Avalon?
Until a couple months ago.
That's pretty recent.
Oh,
yeah, when I met
Mm-hmm.
Dani, so Dani and I, we meet, right? We're in line to check in, and we're kind of eyeing each other because we were mutuals on TikTok. So
Yes.
we were already aware of who each other were, and I recognized her, but I was like, is that? Because you never know when you meet somebody for the first time, you know.
Totally.
You don't want to be that person. But anyway, so we discuss it. We start chatting. We hang out. Because you and I interviewed on the same day. I was in the morning and you were in the afternoon. So the day before we get there, we're hanging out, we're talking. And Dani just casually is like, yeah, I'm in Avalon. And I was like, wait.
Excuse me?
Like, Avalon?
Yeah, right.
And she was like, yeah. Like, wait. No. Like, testify to love
Not
Avalon?
like a cover band Avalon, but like Avalon, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. And I just didn't know that. Because like, no offense to who I envision, like, being in Avalon or just like CCM in general, but you were like so chill and cool, and you weren't giving me Avalon vibes, if I'm being honest.
Avalon vibes. What are those? I want to
don't
know
know
what those are.
But anyway, I just remember being so shocked. Just like, what? Avalon? They're still making music?
Yeah, we made 2 albums. 2 albums.
I know, which is so cool. Another thing cool, just a little behind the scenes too. And I plan to post this. Maybe by the time this airs, I will.
Are you talking about CeeLo?
I am talking about CeeLo.
You mean this picture I queued up for everyone? There it is.
Oh, yes. So Dani, me, and then Corey is also in this picture. We were having drinks with another Corey, who was one of the directors. And me and Corey were sitting facing CeeLo Green, right? And I whispered to Corey, I'm like, hey, does that man over there look like CeeLo Green? And Corey's like, yes, I thought so too, but I didn't want to be weird. And I was like, okay. So then we whispered to Dani, and she's like casually trying to like look behind casually to see.
The old yawn. The old yawn. Look the other way, you know.
Google the photo, make sure we're not like mixing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
our
Hey,
rappers, our
ChatGPT,
singers.
who is this? You know?
Yeah. But so we Googled the photos and we're like, no, I'm pretty sure that is him. I don't think my eyes are playing tricks on me. That looks like him. And so then eventually we were like, should we go over there? And then Corey, not Corey in the picture, director Corey, was like, y'all just need to go over there. Come on, let's go. I'll take your picture. And also at this point, we all had a little bit of liquid courage. Had a little bit of alcohol in me. So I was like, sure, why not? So we go up to him and he was sitting by himself. There was a woman with him and then she had left. And then he continued sitting there for a while, just alone. And so I went up to him and I was like, excuse me, are you CeeLo Green? And he was like, yeah. Like that was what he gave me. And I said, cool. I love your music. Could we have a picture? And he was like,
Cool.
yeah. He said, same, like he barely moved. He's like, yeah. Like, okay. So we just go and we gather around him just like you're seeing in this picture. Snap the picture. And we're like, thank you so much. And he's like,
That's it.
I mean, he was not, that was it. That was the exchange. And I never posted it because I didn't know how to explain who I was with and why without breaking an NDA.
Well, that brings
posted
us. You did post it? That's hilarious.
I did.
This brings us to the conversation between you and me, April, because you told me you were going to Georgia. I was like, oh, for what? And you're like, oh, I can't tell you. But then you did send me this picture. And I was like, wait, what are you doing in Georgia with CeeLo? What is going on? It threw me off the scent so much. Like, I would never guess.
I did that on purpose.
Well, it worked, April. It worked. I was totally, I'm like, how? What? Who? Like, what is going on?
You in a music video with CeeLo Green?
Like a music video with CeeLo Green.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, are you an extra, like in a CeeLo Green video or something? So, yeah, that's pretty cool, though. That's a very cool moment, I guess. You know, that's awesome.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes.
Dani, I did want to ask you, how has, I guess, the combination of obviously you being with Teen Mania for a long time. You talked earlier about, getting married, having kids, like all that stuff, right? And like, realizing that you've always been giving to other people, which is such a relatable thing for so many people, especially women, I think, who have a similar journey of leaving high control religious environments and then becoming a mother right away, right? Just a lot to give. How has this impacted like your faith at all? I mean, April and I have talked a lot about this personally, how leaving these spaces, we're still very much committed to the way of Jesus. In fact, that's why we did leave those spaces, right? We couldn't reconcile it anymore. But a lot of people have a different experience where they just tend to leave faith behind, and we totally understand why they do that. I'm just curious for you, the impact of faith throughout all of this for you.
Yeah, I would say the same, like exactly what you just said, but also like I think growing up marginalized and as a layer kind of made it more of a decolonizing of my faith and kind of removing myself from like the broader white evangelical context of it all. Because again, like when you center America, you start centering America, and I grew up overseas too. And so there's like another layer of separation where I'm like, okay, but America's not the only place that Jesus loves, is it?
Right.
So when you're able to kind of separate it and say, okay, I can be a patriotic person without having to also equate it with, America and Jesus at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't really know the answer to that. That's like a really good question, because I feel like I've remained pretty, aside from like finding my autonomy, which has like been the most freeing part of it all. As far as my faith goes, I feel like I've been very, very much don't throw the baby out with the bathwater my whole life.
Yeah.
But I've just been quiet about it. I hold my cards very close to my chest. And so I'm always observing other people. And, I was studying to be a therapist. And so I'm like wanting to hold space for everybody's perspectives and everybody's journeys. And so I tend to not share my opinions on things. And so, and they change over time too, as I learn new information. And I feel like I've grown a lot and learned a lot. But also I've always believed that my faith is personal to me and not necessarily something to be broadcasted. Like I feel like being a part of Teen Mania, there was this pressure to always, like the white woman's Instagram, like you put your coffee in your Bible and you have your highlighter out and you want to make sure people know you were reading your Bible.
Yeah.
or, you want to put a scripture verse, or you want to say, God's got it, or God bless so-and-so, or,
Yeah.
there's
Love
this
my
language
quiet
that
time
you
with the
use.
Lord today kind of vibe. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, even at Teen Mania, like I felt guilty at Teen Mania because I wasn't doing it enough,
Mm.
of the performative action of that, because I just didn't feel like I wanted to. And so there were times where I'm like, okay, I have to pray out loud. What do I,
Yeah.
and like there's this, when you pray, you have to say Father God at least 28 times, or else you didn't petition him
Yeah.
enough.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
clearly. Yes, of course.
If you
so
didn't
I
At
think,
least
saying his
28.
Yeah, if you
yeah,
didn't
so
keep
I
saying
think,
his name, he forgot you were talking to him. So you
Yeah,
had to like keep his
obviously.
attention.
He's not
yeah.
that powerful, April, okay? He has to be reminded.
Yeah, so I think for me, especially after being on stage at Choir the Fire and feeling like I was constantly trying to shepherd thousands and thousands and thousands of teenagers all the time, as a teenager myself, and realizing how many things that I got wrong, I was like, this is
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
This is mine, and I think that in that world, it is looked down upon that I don't
Mm-hmm.
that I remain neutral in my public discourse, I guess. But that's just kind of how it's
I
been for me on my journey. So,
I think that's fair because I do think when you come from that world, people put so much emphasis on what you believe as opposed to what you do.
Right.
yeah.
And if you say that you believe this thing and it goes against what everybody else believes, then it just gives them ammo to be like, well, you don't believe it just like I do, so you're not a true Christian, as opposed
hmm
to just loving your neighbor and following
Yeah.
Jesus as best you can.
I remember going to see bands and people were like, oh, they didn't thank God, so they must not be Christian. Like that was like a real litmus test, like if
Right.
and it's interesting. All three of us are musicians in some way because I used to be a professional drummer for a lot of years in CCM spaces and outside of it. April, obviously, your claim to fame is that you sang on the Jay Baker show, or Jim
Yes.
Baker show. So there's that.
Jim
And,
Baker.
Dani, you were in the legendary Avalon. So I think that there is like a musical element that we all kind of share of like, we were in this space that was so emphatic about your music always being Christian, your music always being designed to glorify God. If it was about anything else, it was like inherently problematic. When in reality, music is to capture the whole human experience. And there are parts of
Right.
our life that aren't inherently about Jesus all the time, and that's okay,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's because this world is very black and white. It's either from
Yeah.
God or it's from
Right.
Satan because there's no nuance and there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dani, I have one last question for you.
Yes. And I have an answer.
Great.
Is it
So
about the
one,
Teenage Bill of Rights?
the Teenage
Wait.
Bill of Rights.
What?
You don't know about Ron's Teenage Bill of Rights?
Dropping
No.
bombs.
Now I have two questions.
Yeah, now oh my God. Like, go on. We're listening.
Okay, well, what is that real quick?
Yeah,
I'll get to
please.
my actual question.
ChatGPT's giving me nothing. I need answers.
This was the thing that we had to commit to as teenagers. I think it was one of the Acquire the Fires that he brought it. And actually, Joel and I looked at it and we're like, I agree with almost all of this still. And I think that you might as well. You know how we talk about we follow Jesus right out of the church or whatever? That's what it feels like. I shall read it to you. Are you ready?
Do it.
I'm ready.
Awesome. We, the teens, in order to form a more righteous generation, raise our voice in one accord to set the direction for this generation. When so many leaders of our society refuse to lead in truth, when those who sell us goods do so solely for their own financial gain, despite the toll their goods might take on us, when those who have shaped our society often hold no moral compass through which to guide us into the future, when the majority with celebrity influence take no responsibility for their position as role models and influencers, when honesty and truth are scorned and manipulated by many leaders in high offices and integrity is regarded as weakness, when character is mocked by the media and our leaders are afraid to take a moral stand because it might be unpopular, when rebellion is the norm and seen as a right to be demanded, when corruption in society threatens the very foundation upon which it was built, it is necessary for us as teens to redefine our society and lay claim to our right to bring truth to our generation. We take it upon ourselves to rise up and call our generation to a higher standard, a standard not built by polls, but on principle. Not based on what feels good, but on what is good. Not built on what is cool, but what is correct. Not built on what is convenient, but on character. Not based on what is easy, but on what is excellent. Not built on what is popular, but on what is prudent. And not built on what everyone else thinks, but on what God thinks. Not built on Hollywood, but on honor. That was page 1.
Wow.
You're kidding me. Are
how
you
do you go
serious?
so far from that? I mean, I agree with that. That's
Yeah,
how we call
right.
out the Trump administration
Right.
and Christian nationalism.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No,
I was like, he taught us.
Wow.
Ron taught us to be the way that we are. He
Right.
taught us this.
You know, I might, if you're willing to give us a copy of that, just so we have it,
yeah.
I'm gonna want that, because that is such, like, if you know, I'm sure you've seen it, Danny. You know, a lot of these evangelical leaders and influencers out there are like, oh, you know, progressive Christianity, blah 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 blah. It's like, guys, this is from your own world. This is why we left. I took those claims seriously. Everything that you just said in that statement, I believed and still believe, which is why I left those spaces to find Jesus somewhere else. That is wild. That is wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So page 2 is a little bit more rule-like, but that one was like very much like, yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. Check,
We
check,
did
check.
A lot
did
of
it.
your
High five,
a lot of
Danny.
your-
We did it.
A lot of your Honor Academy rules remind me of the rules that I had when I went to an Assemblies of God college. Because I had a friend who was dating a guy from the football team. Both went to the college, and they found condoms in his car.
Wow.
And they kicked her out, but not him.
Oh yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
like
she
finding
probably-
like the book of
she
Satan
probably-
in someone's
She
car.
tempted him, right? She probably
Yeah.
tempted him, and he fell prey to her.
Well,
Yeah.
Danny, obviously, you know, I mean, that's how
That's
it
how it
goes.
Boys will be
goes.
boys.
Yeah, men
They
can't
boys will
control
be boys.
themselves. Like, we are just raging monsters, and it's just, woof, it's on you guys to solve that for us. I mean,
You're really just victims.
thank you.
Victims of
Yes.
women.
Yes.
I know. How do you
Hard-
live in a world?
Hard
where
to be a white
temptations
man in
run-
America, let me tell you.
Oh, God.
I've heard about this. I've heard about that. Yeah. It
Yeah.
must be hard for you.
The plight of the
Must
white
be
man.
hard.
Okay. Now to my actual final question.
Oh, I was so bad, Danny. Just so you know, I'm just kidding. I mean, I know that April knows me, but I just really need to say to the audience, guys, that was just sarcasm. That was New Jersey sarcasm. Okay, don't
You
put
do
that
need
in
to
context.
clarify. Someone is going to clip that and be
Yeah.
like, Tim.
Tim thinks it's hard to be a white man in America. Like, no, guys, it's a joke. Okay.
As long as they don't clip me saying, yeah, you are the victim.
Yeah, there we go. Danny's also problematic now. Okay, so my actual question.
Yeah, right,
One
last
is,
question.
what
Right.
kind of feedback have you seen? So it's kind of a two-parter. And then two, I obviously have seen a lot of pro Teen Mania people that are coming out of the woodworks, and they're commenting on my stuff. They're commenting on Amazon Prime's trailers, like everywhere I could see it. We're like, you're not telling the whole story. No one was there against their will. I had a great experience, and being really dismissive of actual real trauma that a lot of you all went through. So I want to give you the floor. And if you could say something where they had actually listened to you, the people that are kind of fighting this narrative of your experience, what would you say to them?
I remember the feeling of feeling like my entire belief system and community is under attack because someone dared to share something negative that I wasn't currently experiencing. I remember when the Recovering Alumni blog came out. I remember when we were all brought into the auditorium and told, don't read it. They are out to get us. They are trying to bring down the ministry. They're trying to thwart God. And their ultimate goal is to make sure that Dave Haas, the director, gets fired. And I remember believing that and being like, okay, I have to protect my people. So I understand that feeling. I remember that feeling. However, when it comes to a space that has so many different experiences, backgrounds, that has produced a wide range of victimology, if you will, your experience is completely valid for you. Their experience is valid for them as well. And so to try to discount someone else's experience because you want to generalize your own experience and cancel out everybody else's is the least Christ-like thing I think that you can do. And if you claim to love Christ as you do, and if you claim to want to love the world and, love people, then I would say start by loving people in a way that meets them where they're at, instead of putting your defenses up to try to protect a system that did cause harm to a large majority of us. And I understand we all had good experiences too. We're not discounting the good times. Like, we're not discounting the fun that we had, the laughter, the late nights, the growth, the things we learned. We're not discounting those things. 2 things, 10 things, 20 things can be true all at the same time, and so can people's experiences. It's not just one experience. It's hundreds, it's thousands of experiences, and they're all going to be different, and that's okay. It does not mean that you are under attack as a person. You don't have to personalize it for yourself. Just take it in and feel however you want to feel, and then just lend a listening ear and be the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Approach
it with curiosity. And just because you hear harm, it doesn't discount your experience. Like, 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing I want to start doing is using the purity culture illustrations that was taught to us, but just like back at a lot of these Teen Mania and like pro-Christian nationalist people that want to dismiss harm in churches, where they were like, these are brownies, right? And they're totally normal brownies. They look normal, they look good, but someone put a tiny little sprinkle of poop in it. Now, knowing that, would you still want to eat it? Even if it's just a little bit. You just put it back.
Yeah.
Would you still want to go
you should.
to a ministry with a little bit of poop in it?
Or the line of, you shouldn't be afraid of truth, right? Wherever truth is found, there is God.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be afraid to examine things. And if it's true, that's where God is. And if it's not true, you can reject it. But you should at least examine it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sweet.
Awesome. Dani, thank you so much for being with us. Can you tell people where they can find you if they want to follow you and hear more about you and your life and all the things?
Yeah, if you want to follow me and learn more about me and life and all the things, you can follow me at at Dani Rocca Music on all the social media platforms, and you'll find me if you Google me too.
Yeah, and you can find her pictures of her in Avalon as well.
Yes.
You can also type my name in DA. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Could you imagine? Like, she's never going to stop.
Yeah, thanks, Dani, for spelling out your entire name.
Yeah, you do spell Dani, D-A-N-I, though, for those listening who may be not there, and then R-O-C-C-A.
Yes.
Rocca.
Sorry, I was trying to do a Will Forte thing, where
you're all
he does
good.
it
It's
as now
funny.
he's just like, my name is...
That's hilarious.
I love your mind and the way it works.
Dani, thank you for making time and being one of the first interviews after the show's debut. It means a lot.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch it again so I can, hone in on it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you were great in it. I'm really glad that I got to meet you that fateful day in Atlanta, Georgia, and that I had someone I could talk to about it, because I signed an NDA and was like, I want to talk about it so bad.
It's true. We're like, hey, so...
I love it. Well, friends, thanks so much for watching. We love your thoughts. Leave a comment. Make sure to sub to the channel, and we'll do this again, I'm sure, at some point, because, Dani, I feel like you just dropped so many seeds for us to pick up on, so we'll have to have you come back at some point and unpack them.
Yes, that would be really fun.
Sweet. Yep. Sounds good.
And watch Shiny Happy People Season 2 streaming on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Roll the stinger. Or whatever it is.
I'll do it.
Roll the